Welcome back to Mason Talks. So today I want to talk about how the Cleveland Browns' new head coach, Todd Monken, will benefit who is currently QB1 for the team, and that, of course, is Shedeur Sanders. Now, today was the first day that Todd Monken was in Berea as head coach of the Browns. Obviously, he's been part of the team before in 2019 as the offensive coordinator, so he knows his way around. But the little PR videos that the Browns were putting out of Monken arriving were hilarious because, you know, he's getting off the plane. Literally everything's frozen around him. There's not like a single space where there's no snow, because of course in Northeast Ohio we've had, you know, negative 15 degree days for a week now. But Todd Monken's in Berea, and the most telling video that the Browns shared today was one in which Shedeur Sanders popped in to the office of the new top honcho there in Berea, and Todd Monken confirmed what has been reported in the past, that being that the Ravens were interested in drafting Shedeur Sanders last year before ultimately the Browns swooped in and picked him up in the 5th round. And it was really an interesting interaction because, you know, Todd Monken was like completely overjoyed to greet Shedeur Sanders, and it just looks like a already a strong match between your new head coach, likely your new play caller, and the potential starting quarterback for 2026. And listen, when we talk about Shedeur Sanders' rookie season, it was far from perfect. It was there were some good moments that Shedeur showed the potential as to why some people had him mocked as high as, you know, a top 10 draft pick last year. Shedeur definitely showed that potential. Obviously, he's widely popular across the league, which is why he is a Pro Bowler this season, which is still crazy to think about. But Shedeur had a lot of holes in his game. There were a lot of issues. There were a lot of horrific plays, horrific turnovers, boneheaded interceptions. There's still a lot of work for Shedeur Sanders to do if he wants to be the franchise quarterback of this team. However, when you look at the comparison between Shedeur's first head coach, that of course being Kevin Stefanski, and now his newest head coach, the second head coach in his pro career, Todd Monken, I think that those two men approach their quarterback development or how they handle the quarterback position a lot differently. And Todd Monken, quite frankly, is one of the most qualified candidates in the entire league when it comes to developing quarterbacks and developing systems around those quarterbacks. Kevin Stefanski, as a play caller and as an offensive mind, was a floor raiser. He could raise the floor of your offense pretty much no matter who was at quarterback. And it was, you know, highly impressive seeing Kevin Stefanski's offense succeed with you had Jacoby Brissett, you had Nick Mullins playing games. PJ Walker, I think, is the clearest example, of a subpar quarterback finding ways to win in Kevin Stefanski's offense. The offense that Stefanski ran, it was very quarterback friendly. However, it definitely did not raise their ceilings. It definitely did not capture their true potential. I think you look at Baker Mayfield, and Baker Mayfield, you know, he doesn't have his career season until after he leaves Kevin Stefanski. Baker Mayfield's two best seasons His best season obviously was last year, not this current season, but last season with Tampa Bay. And then you can argue it was his rookie season. Those were his two top seasons, neither of which were with Kevin Stefanski as head coach. Kevin can do a lot with your offense, no matter who's the quarterback, but he cannot capitalize on your quarterback's overall potential. He just hasn't. He couldn't do it with Baker. He didn't do it with Deshaun. He didn't do it with Shedeur Sanders. He didn't do it with anybody. And I think that that's probably what you're looking at as the main reason why he's not currently the Cleveland Browns head coach. He was a floor raiser, but he did not raise the ceiling of the most important player on your offense. But when you look at Todd Monken, that's exactly what he's done basically throughout his career. Definitely at his last two stops. Last season, or the last couple of seasons, obviously, he's been the offensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens. And Lamar Jackson, who is, one of the top quarterbacks in the league, he's had his best seasons under Todd Monken. 2023, Lamar Jackson was the MVP with Todd Monken calling plays. 2024, I think Lamar had, over 4,000 passing yards with Todd Monken as his offensive coordinator. Todd Monken was able to capitalize on Lamar Jackson's talents better than any of the other coordinators that he's worked with thus far. The other, of course, being Greg Roman. But that's what Todd Monken does, and that's what he did, even at his previous stop, which was the University of Georgia. And this is what's highly encouraging to me, that, when you talk about the professional football versus college football, obviously it's a whole different ball game, although it's, becoming more similar every single year, it seems. But what Todd Monken showed, what is undeniable about his resume as an offensive play caller, is that his offense, you don't have to have one certain kind of quarterback to be successful under Todd Monken, because he won 2 national titles with Georgia as the offensive coordinator with Stetson Bennett as his quarterback. And Stetson Bennett, obviously, from a talent standpoint, but also just from a play style standpoint, completely different guy than Lamar Jackson. And yet, what Todd Monken is able to do is adequately and properly adapt his offense around his quarterback. I mean, you even look at 2019 when he was the offensive coordinator of the Browns. He didn't call plays, but it was his offensive system, and he, obviously he had a key hand in what was going on, even though Freddie Kitchens was the ultimate play caller. But even that year, I mean, Baker Mayfield, he had a lot of interceptions, that ultimate downfall. I think Baker was, that was his 20 touchdown, 20 interception year, but I mean, he almost had 4,000 passing yards as the quarterback of the Browns that year. They didn't win enough. They only went 6-10, but it doesn't seem to matter who the quarterback is, or it doesn't seem to matter the different skill sets or talents of these quarterbacks. Todd Monken's able to make it work. He's able to, he knows how to build his offense and his scheme around the most important position on the entire field. And that is something the Browns have lacked for going on half a century. Kevin Stefanski couldn't do it. Kevin Stefanski's the best play caller we've had in, decades. Kevin Stefanski, love him or hate him, best head coach the Browns have had since 1999. He was not able to capitalize on the quarterback position. And if you can't capitalize, if you can't make your quarterback a stud, no matter their skill set, no matter their play style, if you can't make your quarterback the focal point of your offense, you're not going to win the Super Bowl. You're not going to make it to the playoffs. You're not going to be winning division titles in 2026. It's just not going to happen. Todd Monken has shown on several occasions his ability to not only develop quarterbacks of multiple skill sets, but to build the offense around them. build the offense to take advantage of their talents. And when you look at Shedeur Sanders, it's undeniable that he has talent. He has, ridiculous accuracy. You still see that even though he made some, poor decisions throughout the 2025 season. He still has the ability to make, big throws. And his mobility was more impressive than I thought it was going to be in his rookie season. He has a lot of issues to work through on the field. Shedeur's got a lot of rough edges that you really need, to round out. But the potential's there, and the reason why Todd Monken is such a good such a good individual to be the head coach of this Shedeur Sanders led team is because he's, arguably the most qualified offensive mind in the entire league to take advantage of Shedeur's skills, to take advantage of the things that he does well and his natural talents, and to build the offense around that. That's what Todd Monken will do. He will build the offense around Shedeur Sanders in a way that Kevin Stefanski didn't. Now, is that going to lead to wins right off the bat? I don't know. Nobody can guarantee for sure just how good this Browns team's going to be. And the main reason why is because your offense has some pretty glaring needs outside of, even outside of the quarterback position, which is a whole, thing in itself. But, the biggest question mark right now as to whether this Todd Monken, Shedeur Sanders marriage is going to be successful is how well Andrew Berry is going to be able to build the offensive line this offseason. And are you going to be able to get a couple receiving targets, whether it be through first round draft picks or, free agency or the trade market, working the trade market. That's going to be like that's the big, that's the thing that could tip the scale one way or another. How well are you going to be able to build your offensive arsenal around Shedeur Sanders? Because I genuinely am confident that with adequate talent around him, you have Quinshon Judkins, who, hopefully is back and at full health by week 1. You have Harold Fannin, who I think is going to be an absolute stud throughout his career in the league. I have full confidence that Todd Monken can build the schemes, build the offense around Shedeur Sanders. The question is, will your offensive line be good enough? Will your wide receivers be good enough? Those are the two gigantic glaring holes on this team. So we'll see. But Todd Monken, quarterback's obviously the top position. That's what you need to build your team around. I think the Browns actually did a great job, a much better job than people are giving them credit for, of getting the candidate, the offensive mind, who has the best ability to capitalize on your quarterback's talent, no matter who that quarterback is. So Todd Monken, Shedeur Sanders, I'll be interested to see how it plays out. Let me know in the comments, do you think Todd Monken will be able to turn Shedeur Sanders into a franchise quarterback? Do you think he'll be able to help him capitalize on his talents? Thank you for listening to the Mason Talk Sports Show. I will see you in my next episode. Goodbye.